All right, guys, so our next topic here is a much bigger piece of casting information here. The cast of the Obi-Wan series have been revealed, and it's not just like one guy, or one gal even. The entire cast has been revealed for the show. So we'll take a look at this real quick, and we'll kind of break this down. So here is the full casting announcement. There's some new faces here. We got confirmation that Joel Edgerton and Bonnie, what's her name? Peace, I think that's how it is either way, but Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, they're coming back. Kamal and Johnny, who I don't think had been announced at all prior. He's here. We had the Indira Varma casting. We talked about that a week or two ago. Rupert Friend was new. Sun Kang was new. O'Shea Jackson new. I think Simone Kessel may have already been confirmed before. Can't remember. I think I already knew she was going to be in there. But then Benny Safdie, which is between, I don't know which one's more interesting. Like, I think the most interesting ones here, honestly, is Benny Safdie, Kumail and Johnny, and O'Shea Jackson, and probably honestly Sun Kang too. I'm really not too familiar with Rupert Friend, so I can't really say if it's interesting to me or not at all, in all honesty. But between those four fellas, I'm just really hyper curious as to what they're going to be doing. Benny Safdie, if you're not familiar with, he directs with his brother, the Safdie brothers. They directed Uncut Gems and Good Time with Robert Pattinson, and then Benny Safdie actually co-starred in Good Time with Robert Pattinson. And he was phenomenal as the character in there. I forget what his name was, but he was phenomenal in that movie. That's a great movie. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. And then obviously he's a very talented director, him and his brother, because like Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, that was a fantastic movie. And then Good Time, also a fantastic movie. So this is interesting. I think the only other kind of cool piece of information, I guess, and like Rick and I, we were talking about this beforehand, is like, well, the fact that Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace are in here kind of insinuates that we're probably going to be seeing a young Luke Skywalker. Whether, and I don't think young Luke Skywalker is going to do anything, but we'll probably see him from afar. Or maybe Obi-Wan goes and has dinner with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and like we actually get some dialogue between a young Luke Skywalker. Who knows? So, I mean, that's another little tidbit of information you can take any way that you know. And I'm not familiar with Moses Ingram's work either, so I really... Those four, and then obviously, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru coming back are the things that really stand out to me. So what do you guys think about this cast list here?
I think it's pretty stacked, like we were saying. But I think it's cool. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are coming back. It'll be interesting to see who Indira Varma plays.
Gotta be Satine.
Yeah, I mean, that's
she just looks like Satine.
Yeah, who was the, from Clone Wars, the bald lady? She was, she's not like a Sith, but...
Are you talking about Asajj?
Yeah, Asajj Ventress, yeah.
Asajj Ventress?
I mean, like, she could even show up in, like, a flashback or something, because, I mean, her and Obi-Wan had some run-ins quite a few times, but...
I don't know if they would do Asajj. It'd be cool if they did Asajj.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, like, their perspective or their take on it, like, in live action.
Well, what's the status of Asajj right now?
She died with, this other guy, God, I forget his name. He's got a yellow stripe on his face. But she actually redeemed herself. Like, towards the end of her run, her and this guy was a Jedi. They, like, teamed up and they actually got together, and then I guess they died together or something, but she was redeemed.
Does this happen in Clone Wars? I don't remember this at all.
No, it was, yeah, I think it was, like, towards the end of Clone Wars. I don't know if, like, that stuff in particular, that was from a book, a canon book. Okay. But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that. That's interesting. Well, what? So she died though. This is after all that though.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Well, flashbacks or something.
I'm like hoping on these flashbacks because you could do a lot with that. But
I don't want to see. I'm on the complete opposite camp. I don't want flashbacks. I don't care about flashbacks. I want to see just because Hayden Christensen is in it. Everybody thinks, oh, well, they gotta be doing no. He's just gonna be Darth Vader. Like he's freaking Darth Vader. Like that's it.
They'll show him with his helmet off at some point.
Exactly.
Like,
they can show him with the helmet off. Yeah. Exactly. And I said,
is he gonna show scarred up Anakin?
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing. And I think too, like I said this before, everyone just knowing that it's Hayden Christensen in the suit lends so much more weight to the scene, in my opinion. Because you could have anybody in the suit. It doesn't even matter. In a lot of ways, it could be better to not have Hayden in the suit because you could get like a much bigger, imposing looking person wearing the suit. Like the guy who did it in Rogue One. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that guy was a big guy.
He looked great. Like he looked great as Vader.
They should have used him though when they showed Anakin's like back of his head or whatever. They should have done it a little bit more, I feel like, and used Hayden Christensen for that, because that would have really That would have sat well with me.
In Rogue One, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That was a cool scene.
It was a cool scene. But like now though, I think that's the stuff we're gonna get where like having Hayden there will actually be beneficial. We could see some more back to tank shit, you know, like
Yeah.
we could actually see the boy,
Love
see
that.
what he looks like.
Love that back to tank.
Yeah, John, your camera froze, by the way.
I thought he was just sitting really still.
He's sitting very still.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I just want to see what I love Kumail and Johnny, and I'm glad that he's getting like a lot more work now. I'm super. I really want to see him in because he got jacked for one, which is super cool, and but in Eternals, he's literally playing a Bollywood like the Eternal. I can't remember his name, but his character in like human world is his persona is a Bollywood actor, which is like obviously super fitting, and like all the Bollywood actors are like super jacked and shit too. Well, like a lot of them are. So it's just funny,
crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you haven't looked at any like Bollywood stuff, it's
wild.
It's wild shit. Like they deny all physics and reality in so many ways. Like
have you watched the Corridor Crew videos where they go for like Bollywood stuff? Yeah, and it's like.
Yeah, if you actually want to watch some like good examples and see some funny like Bollywood stuff and some cool Bollywood stuff, look up Corridor Crew Bollywood and the segments they have on like just kind of breaking down and like reacting to like those are some pretty like those are good Bollywood things to look at for sure. Right. Like they're good. John, what stands out to you about this cast announcement here? You looking forward to anything here? You got any predictions on who some of these folks are going to be?
No, I don't. Again, we've talked about it before, like not having the knowledge of Clone Wars. It's all open. It's all an open book to me. I mean, it's going to probably because there's no way I'm probably going to. Well, maybe I don't know how far away Obi-Wan is from premiering, but I don't know if I'll be able to get through Clone Wars by the time Obi-Wan comes out. If I do, then maybe it'll lend some weight to some of these characters. But I was going to say, like, it might be my first introduction to some of these characters because not having watched Clone Wars. I'm working my way through. I finished the first season. And I'm like halfway through the second. So I was told that seasons 1 through 3 are a little slow, but that it really picks up with season 4. So I'm hoping I can get to that. Lots of filler episodes, it seems like right now in the early seasons. But anyway, that's besides the point. I again, it's a good cast. The Hayden Christensen thing is throwing me for a loop. I understand, like, I don't want it to be flashbacks either because I'm not really sure what that does. We have episodes 1, 2, and 3. Those are the backstory on Obi-Wan and Anakin. I'm not sure what further backstory you need. I'm wondering if Anakin is going to be hunting for Obi-Wan, and I'm wondering, like, it would be kind of cool. Like, I think it might be kind of cool if they do the scarred up Anakin body and like have him walking around not with the whole Vader get up on, but like, I don't know. We don't know how Vader kind of operated day to day besides that one little clip in Empire where he's in that pod with the helmet on. Like, I don't know day to day, like did he get up in the morning and like make himself breakfast with his like a modified version of the mask on? Not that I want to see like day-to-day stuff, but I'd like to. I got to think that they threw Hayden Christensen, they cast him or brought him back so that you get that visual fidelity between the prequels and this series, and so I feel like we gotta see him at some point without the suit on, and I don't know that it's going to be flashbacks, which only leaves one option, is him in heavy makeup, scarred, but also, still Hayden Christensen, still Anakin. So I'm looking forward I'm just looking forward to the series. It's a great cast, and Disney continues to bring in actors and actresses for what we're calling a TV series, but essentially is a modified, motion picture in a way.
Yeah, just a kind of like what they're calling like Falcon and Winter Soldier, man. You know what I mean? It's just like
I almost feel like these series we need some new terminology to discuss these because they're not really films, but they don't really feel like they're just TV shows either. I know
Movie
series.
people watch them. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
movie series. Yeah.
serial. I mean, maybe go back and use the old serials
Yeah.
Terminology that they used back in the what 30s, 20s, 30s, and 40s for the quick movies or the episodic movies that happened week to week in theaters. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is. Like I think
Yeah.
more so with like Falcon and Winter Soldier than WandaVision. Like WandaVision was very much formatted as a television series.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
I mean, obviously. But yeah, with like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which we're gonna get into a little bit later, though, that feels like a movie. Like in many ways. Just like they just stretched out a movie with it. So I don't know. But it's really cool. I'm looking forward to this more than anything. I love Ewan McGregor in the role of Obi-Wan. Like he was great as Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he's
So
perfect.
yeah, he literally
Somebody on one of the social media sites I look at recently posted something about, do you realize that this might be the last time we see Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan? And it was like, well, yeah, I mean, that actually
would
is
make
very
sense.
possible. And it's kind of sad to think about. Like, it's probably, if Disney Plus never happens, we had probably already seen the last of it. So it should just be
Yeah.
grateful that we're getting to see him in
That's
the
what
role
I'm
again.
saying.
But it's also kind of bittersweet that it's true, though, that this might, very well be the last time we get to see him play the role. And
I don't know.
he's so good at it that
I've thought that since freaking 2003, though. So
Right.
I thought that
Sure.
was the last time I would see
Yeah,
him
I
in
mean,
the
I just
role.
didn't even
Sure.
think about it.
Yeah. So I never thought there would be a day to where we would ever see him play the role ever again, which was I never really thought about it as disappointing because it just kind of like with what you said, John, with the flashback stuff. It's like we got that like in the prequels. So
Yeah.
so I just I'm the same way. It's like I never would have imagined them going back and telling any more stories with the characters. So I'm just happy that obviously he loved playing Obi-Wan and they had an idea for Obi-Wan and decided to do it more so than anything. Because like they could have had an idea for Obi-Wan, but like and then done it with someone else,
What?
if they wanted to.
What? Oh, go ahead.
No, Eric, you good?
Oh no, I was just gonna say really quickly, like, one thing I think they're gonna do, and they obviously have done this a lot with the Mandalorian, is there's a lot of fan servicing, but I think they do it in the right way. Whether it be like that droid that was Uncle Owen and Luke turned down showing up in the Mandalorian to whatever else, like I think there's going to be a lot of cool little nods to Clone Wars and Rebels and, previous films and all that stuff. And that's what I really like about like the Star Wars series. But
Yeah, for sure.
just little Easter eggs like everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally don't like the term fan service. I know what you're
Yeah.
saying. It seems to be
Yeah.
the prevalent term that people use, but I almost feel like it's
It's just tying things together.
yeah, it's almost it makes it
Fan service
lessens
can
what
be
they're
done well.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
I feel like applying that term to something lessens what it is. Like putting in what people expect or what people want from their heroes or their stories is not so if you put a lightsaber in a Star Wars show, is that fan service or is
Yeah,
a
right.
lightsaber a fundamental element of Star Wars? The same goes for like the Force. If you throw the Force in and somebody uses the Force, is that fan service? I mean, I don't know where this term fan service came about and why. I think it became a cheap, easy way for people to just rag on stuff that people like because it doesn't break the mold or do something that's new and unique that people can call gritty and edgy. Like
It doesn't
I feel
subvert
like,
your expectations, so it's fan
yeah,
service.
and like okay, so like
Okay.
do all of our old like fairy tales and stuff, are those all just straight fan service? Like does good triumph in evil? Is that just fan service every time that happens, even though it's a hallmark of literature for millennia? I mean, it's a
It's true.
weird term that I bump up against every time I hear it. So not to take us completely off topic there, but I personally don't care if they're filled up with fan service. Like, I mean, I want a Star Wars show. I want those callbacks. I think that it's smart and clever and really ingenious the way that the Mandalorian has weaved in so many other elements of the Star Wars universe into their narrative. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and clearly it's popular and it works for people, and you can throw people. You can, like, nobody called Luke. I mean, sure, there were a handful of people that thought maybe Luke could be the one to show up, but nobody actually thought Luke was going to be the one to show up in the season finale of Mandalorian, and it was. And yeah, is that fan service? I guess,
Nah.
but it's also like just an awesome ass story. Like that
Yeah.
was dope to see him.
And that's the thing too with fan service, like the negative connotation behind it is like it's a loose definition, right? Because like
Yeah.
you can equate fan service as anything, but like when it's used in a negative connotation, it's always used as in a way of just like expressing like the movie was bad and all they did was try to like please the audience and that's what made it bad. But it's like, no, that was just a bad movie. It had nothing to do with fan service. Because like you said, like a lot of the stuff, like if there's a lightsaber in Star Wars that wasn't fan service, like The Last Jedi, they just told like a bad story. It had nothing to
Yeah.
do with like maybe them trying to subvert expectations in Last Jedi directly led to it being a bad movie. Maybe it could have used a little bit of fan service, if you will. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's a weird. I agree. It's a weird term because like because like the Luke Skywalker thing, someone could equate it as being fan service, but it's really not. It made sense narratively. Luke Skywalker was a Jedi rebuilding the fucking Jedi Order at the time that this went down, so he would have heard Grogu's call. So I don't know what's fan service about it, or it just made narrative sense. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
just because it makes sense and it's cool doesn't mean it's fan service. It just means it makes sense and it's cool. Like
Yeah. That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like it's because the end of Endgame you could say is riddled with fan service, but like it all made sense and it was all cool.
Well,
Like
and if
it is weird. It's a weird term.
yeah, if the good guys beating the bad guys is fan service, then every comic book that's ever been written throughout the history of ever is just fan service because
Yeah.
we don't have a world of comic books where all the heroes are dead. Like these characters have endured for decades, and they've endured and they've gone on because they always triumph, and so has that. It's not. I understand the use of the word or the phrase, and it's become kind of commonplace in the vernacular when discussing these things. But like I just said, like every time I hear it, I feel like it feels like it's used in a negative connotation. I don't like that aspect of it. So
Well, it always is. Whenever you hear it, it's always in the way of like, well, it was just fan service. That's how
yeah,
you hear it every time. It's never like there was some great fan service in that movie. Like it's never used like that. And
No.
I think like a reason it comes up so much is because there is really no definition for it. Because I think a lot of people consider an Easter egg and like a wink and a nod as fan service, but it's like no, it's just a wink and a nod. You know
Yeah.
what I
It's
mean?
just a way
It's
to
like
like tie things.
like that
into-
droid being in Mandalorian. Like it's not fan service. Like that's
No.
just like
Like, hey,
it's
that's
just
that droid.
it's like a cameo. It's like it's like an Easter egg thing. Like with Stan Lee showing up in all the Marvel movies, fan service. No,
yeah,
they're just cameos. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Like it is a really weird thing. It's interesting that you bring it up because like it doesn't make any sense. It
Yeah.
really doesn't.
yeah. It's like a. I'm not sure. I don't want to harp on people that do use it, but it's like a cop out for somebody that can't come up with a better way of explaining why they didn't like something. Like
Yeah.
so.
Rick just used it in a good vernacular. He was
Yeah.
saying
Yeah,
like he
I-
likes that stuff, and he's like he's
Exactly.
like that's the good stuff. He wants to see it, and he even said like Easter eggs and stuff. So like it kind of like goes into what my point was. Like a lot of people sit there and just think an Easter egg is like fan servicey, and it's like yeah, like you could call it fan service. You
A
could
lot of
just
people
call
are
it an
just
Easter
really
egg.
negative though. Like I try
Yeah.
not to be that way, and
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
if there's something I don't like, it's just like whatever. I don't like it. I don't want to give it the time of day.
Yeah, you don't have
versus-
to make an excuse as to why. Like it was bad just because it was this.
There's some people that
It's like,
just want to find everything wrong with that kind of stuff.
yeah, they're
But-
gonna have a
Definitely.
reason for it because like they have to justify their opinion behind it. Like like
'cause
they
their
can't
opinion
just
matters.
they can't
Yeah.
just have an opinion. They can't just be like, "Oh, I just didn't like it." Yeah, like it's
Yeah.
like no, there's got to be a reason for it. Like
Yeah.
it's like no one cares. No one cares.
Yeah.
What kind of going in a different direction here, but what do you guys think the future of Star Wars is? Do you think it's this? Do you think it's the series on I was gonna say HBO Max on Disney Plus? Or do you think, because the series is the multiple series that they have coming out are I think going to continue popping off. Like I don't see the momentum slowing down when you start getting Book of Boba and you get Obi-Wan and you get Ahsoka. Like, there is nothing about any of those series that makes me think the momentum from these things is going to slow down. Yet there seems to be no momentum behind the films. There's the Patty Jenkins Rogue One series movie, which I think could be interesting and could be really good. But do you think, like, this is the future of Star Wars, that we're kind of Star Wars has basically transitioned over to a kind of serial?
I think it is.
That term?
I'm just gonna go with what, can't remember if it was what's her name, Kathleen Kennedy or Bob Iger who said this, but at one point in time they said that the future of Star Wars is, at least for the next couple of years, is on Disney Plus. It's in television form.
Yeah,
like they're not looking.
I'm cool with that though.
Yeah.
I mean,
as long as they're pumping out good content, I don't
saying.
give a shit where it's
Yeah,
at.
they've done well.
We technically get more out of the Disney Plus show than we do a 2-hour movie, as long as it's good. We get at least more of it, right? I mean, hell, I would take one season of The Mandalorian over all 3 of the sequel trilogies. So, all 3. So, I mean, in the end, like, it's just a pick your poison. I want Star Wars to go back to the big screen, though, because I want to go watch it on the big screen. Like, those are movies that's where I go. Like, I want to see that in the theater. Granted, it's been disappointing for the last 10 years going, aside from Rogue One. That was good.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't go see Solo in theaters,
Solo
but
was
I
good.
like Solo.
I like
Solo was a great
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
I love Solo. Solo and Rogue One are better than all the sequel trilogy.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, Force Awakens is a good movie, though. I stand by that. I think
Force
it's good.
Awakens wasn't bad, yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, fuck, man. It wasn't like Empire. It was. I go back and forth. I don't know, because everybody hates on the prequels so much, but like,
Revenge of the Sith was great.
I like the prequels, man. I've always liked the prequels. Probably because I was a kid when it came out. So, like, that's the Star Wars that I got to grow up with. I mean, I grew up with the original trilogy too, but that wasn't during, like, I didn't get to go see that. You know what I mean? Like in the theater. It was already a pre-existing thing. And then the prequels came out and it was a big old deal. And Jar Jar sucks and the movies kind of suck in a lot of ways, but it's still intrinsically Star Wars, whereas these other movies were not intrinsically Star Wars. You know what I mean? That's what I was saying before. Like, maybe the sequel trilogy could have used a little fan service, because it didn't feel like Star Wars at all.
It really did.
Like, it's like they were trying to subvert expectations and shit, and it's like, well, it really just ended up not feeling like Star Wars. It's just like, it just wasn't really true to form. You know, like, you don't have to do everything that's expected. Like, not everyone expected Darth Vader to be Luke's father, but he was. Like, this is what it is.
I can't imagine there would be such a large, in today's age of social media and the desire to be counter or be negative on something that so many people, there's a segment of the population that just wants to be negative about things that a lot of people like. And there would, if that reveal had happened in today's age, if Empire had come out, in today's age of social media, there would be entire groups dedicated to how stupid it is that Vader is. Oh, that's just stupid. Of course, the villain be the hero's dad or whatever. Like, it would be bashed when for a lot of people in my generation, my age, and younger people, up until I would say the turn of the century, like, that was cool. That was awesome. Like, it
is cool. Like, it is cool. Like, it is awesome. It wasn't like it was just because it was then. Like, no, that's cool. Like, it is 100% cool. And the sad thing is, too, something like that would even be hard to do in today's age. Like, I'm constantly in awe when they are able to keep anything a secret. Like Grogu, for instance.
Yeah.
The fact that they were able to keep that a secret is like, It's crazy. Like, because I mean, it's different when it's like a CG character that can be kept secret. Because there's only the CG people and the freaking John Favreau would know about it. But they had a little puppet on set. Everyone had pictures with that thing. Like it could have leaked at any time, man.
Yeah,
Like,
really.
and it didn't. Like,
Them
I don't-
damn non-disclosure agreements.
yeah, I don't know. In the end, I do think I don't know what I'm not even confident this Rogue Squadron movie is even going to get made. In all honesty,
Yeah,
like
see
who
about
knows?
that.
I mean, I'm sure they'll want to move forward with Patty Jenkins and all that stuff, but like, I don't know. It just depends. It just seems like one of those things that, like, I know they made a big announcement over it, but I could also see like that, and like, I mean, like maybe a couple other things too that like maybe just won't like, because I know they're going full steam ahead with Disney Plus, like on all aspects. They got like 8 shows in Star Wars world coming out, dude. So they're definitely they're sticking to those comments of it being like the future of Star Wars for the next couple of years. The real question is, are they going to continue the saga in any way, shape, or form? Or are they done with the saga?
I think they're done with it.
And if they do continue the saga, is it going to be completely detached? Are they going to do what they should have done to begin with and tell like a disconnected story, like set in that time period? You know what I mean? Because like that's really the thing. Like, because I mean, in the end, in my opinion, it was a huge mistake. And I think, John, you said this before too. It was a huge mistake, in my opinion, to bring back Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill. And they weren't even on screen together. They had nothing to do
Never
with each
shared a
other.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't advance the plot in any way, shape, or form. They literally they did nothing. There was no point for them to even be in those movies.
Right.
In the end.
Yeah.
Like,
Other than they're there.
yeah, it's like they're there. Like, look, we're it's in the same. It's the same movies. Like, ooh, like it's like they didn't do anything, and it's just like none of it made sense, man. Like, 'cause that's the thing that always bothered me too. It's like, well, what the hell? How the hell did Leia and Luke and Han? How did they fail the Republic so badly that just 30 years later, a new empire's back? It makes
Right.
absolutely no sense. It's just like it literally is a just because thing. Like we just wanted to tell a story. Like there it is. Like I don't know. It was lazy in all honesty. It was kind of lazy. Kylo Ren was a cool.
Well, it also felt like they had to tear down the old heroes to raise up the new heroes. Like,
yeah,
oh,
right.
Rey and Finn and Poe and Kylo are so much better than the ones you grew up with because they're able to do what they weren't able to do. And it's just like, whatever. Just
Yeah.
Right.
just stop, Disney. Just stop, please.
That's the
You know,
worst.
but
Yeah, that's exactly
Filoni,
it though
dude.
too. That's exactly it, and that's where a lot of shows, like even like the Superman on Supergirl is a great example of that too. It's like the only way they can make Supergirl look good was to make Superman look bad, and it's like
Yeah.
it's like that's not how you tell a story. Like they can both be good. Luke can be a Luke Skywalker, and Rey can be Rey Palpatine or Rey Skywalker, whatever the hell she wants to call herself, or Rey Nobody. It doesn't matter. Like you don't have to bring another character down to elevate another character. It's lazy for one, and it's disingenuous to the character and the story overall because it just in the end doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like I've said before, the scene and like the fact that Luke Skywalker would go out of his way, lay his lightsaber down, or put his life on the line for Darth Vader, his father. Darth Vader, the biggest fucking bad guy in the world, in the galaxy. He's like, nah, there's good in him.
Full of children,
Yeah,
child Jedi.
Yeah, like he knew
Right.
that there was good in him, and he was willing to put his life on the line right there. But then in 30 years later, essentially, he wants to kill his nephew in his sleep.
Right.
Like
because he thinks he may have some sort of inkling that he's going to go to the dark
might
side.
be a bad guy.
Some part of the dark side in him. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's completely. It's not subverting expectations in any way. It's like it's just not true to the story. It's directly contradictory to everything that came before. It makes no sense.
Well,
Either
and
way.
I've always said too, like that same, like just again with Luke, like Luke was willing in Empire to give up everything. Like Yoda flat out tells him, if you leave now and go, he has the vision about his friends in Cloud City, and he says, if you leave now, you will never be a Jedi. You know, Yoda straight up tells him, like, this is it. You let them, you leave them. There are bigger things here at stake. You need to stay here and complete your training. And Luke says, I can't. They're my friends. I can't abandon them. And he gets in his X-Wing and he leaves. The only thing he ever kind of wanted out of his life was to have a higher purpose. But he found this family and these friends, and they meant more to him. He was willing to throw that all away to go help in whatever way he could. And then we get to, you know, the sequel trilogy, and he's given up on everybody. He's no, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Things went bad. No, you're right. I can't help people. Oh wait, you know, Han's kid, it might be killed by his son. Like, okay, well, whatever. I'm hiding. You know, it's just terrible.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's just and that's the thing. And I feel like they wanted, it was partly they're trying to make them look bad to make the other people look good.
Yep.
And they're trying to
definitely.
subvert expectations when it's like you're telling a contradictory story is all you're doing. Like, you want to make an Elseworld story, go for it, but don't try to tell me like that's a continuation of the story, because it's not. Like,
Yeah.
not that I could write anything better by any means, just I've seen what's came before it. There were 6 other movies that came before it. This didn't really follow what those movies were telling me. Like,
Yeah.
It's funny we're talking about this, or that it got brought up tonight, because just this morning I watched a thing. There's a YouTuber out there, Star Wars Theory, I think is the name of the channel or something, and
makes
he
good
did a
stuff.
video just yesterday or the day before. Yeah, he does some interesting ones, but about George Lucas. I had read some of this online. It was in news articles a few weeks back, maybe a month or so back, where the Star Wars archive books have come out, and there have been direct interviews with Lucas about what his plans were for the sequels and everything, and how he had planned for, he said, like, the first one was supposed to focus on the father, the second trilogy focused on the son, and the third trilogy focused on the sister and the grandchildren, and how much of a role Leia was supposed to play in this new trilogy. And then, of course, Disney got their hands on it and abandoned all his plans. But, you know, they just, yeah, as you mentioned earlier, they wasted the fact that we still had Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher around and available to do these films. And unfortunately, sadly, we don't have Carrie anymore, and who knows how long we'll have the other two. And Disney just I can't believe that nobody at Disney had the respect and the admiration for these films to treat them a little better than they did.
oh, I
Yeah.
know.
I
Well, and
would
then they
agree.
had no plan for it too. Like, on just like a most basic level, they didn't even have a plan for this stuff. They had JJ come in and write The Force Awakens. Then Rian Johnson was able to go and just do whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah.
And then Colin Trevorrow was going to come in and just do whatever the hell he wanted. Like, no, you need to have, this is a trilogy of films. You need to know, you need A, B, and C. You need to know what the hell's
Yeah.
going to happen. You don't just wing this shit. Look at what
Yeah.
that did for DC, for hell's. That's not even as connected as these are. These are direct sequels to themselves. Like, you gotta have some idea what the hell's gonna happen. You're telling an overall story here. Like, it works for some things, just shooting off the hip, but not all the time, man. Like, not for stuff like this. Like,
Yeah.
either way. No, we got a little off
That
topic
was
there. You know what?
really
In the end, Obi-Wan looks great, everybody. I'm very excited. That's what this started as, was Obi-Wan, and then it got real sad for a little bit as we started being grown men whining about Star Wars and the yesteryear, pretty much. But either way, guys, Obi-Wan cast is out again. Here it is. Let us know what you think about this down in the comment section below. I've already said the ones I'm most interested in. Do you think we're going to see a little young Luke there? I think a little scene with young Luke, you know, like nice Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan comes in to visit, you know, Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, they have dinner. We have a nice conversation. I think a scene like that might happen. Let me know what you think down in the I was going to say down in the conversation below. Down in the comment section below.